All right. Hello. Welcome back to New Cats. It's good to be recording New Cats. I haven't recorded New Cats in several months. I think in the last video in the Illinois game, I get exposed because the date on the Sweet Sioux Axe trophy is like November 27th. And I don't know if my system clock is accurate anymore. I think it's probably off a little bit, but that's probably pretty accurate. So I'm finally back recording more New Cats. I'm going to try and finish this series over the course of the summer so that we can start a new one by about the end of August, a new college football series for the new college football season. So the goal here, I guess, the same with We Just Want One, the Cardinal series, is going to be to at least run through the little base 3-year contract that like all these old EA Sports games kind of follow. Just run through the first 3 years here, see what we can do, because you have to do recruiting in your off season. In-season recruiting comes in 06, so because you have to recruit in the off season, you really only have one opportunity to really get your team good. And some of the smaller programs with like the lower prestige, it's like nearly impossible because you have no sway with any prospects or anything, and you have no points to recruit because your school's so small. So Northwestern, I think, is in a good middle ground to where we should be able to kind of take the 3-star prestige, and if we have a good enough season or two, then we can start getting better people. And if I see that the trend is upward, then I'll just continue this for as many seasons as I need to really kind of reach our potential with the series, which is to turn Northwestern into one of the perennial juggernauts of the Big Ten. So with that, I have our season at a glance here. Our first season overview here. We went 5-7. I think the last 2 weeks of the season probably saved my job because we were heading for 3-7 to end our first year, or heading into the last 2 weeks we were 3-7, and that for sure probably would have got me fired. And if this series ended because I got fired after year one, then I think any credibility I had doing this further with this channel is lost. So if you remember, we had our first road game in Kansas that we lost. I threw an interception late in the game. On a potential game-winning drive or game-tying drive, I threw a pick, which was the story this year. We'll see stats, believe me. And then the following week, we beat Air Force. Well, that was my first win as coach for Northwestern, was a 7-3 victory over Air Force. And the thing to point out here is you see Air Force is now ranked. Okay, I'm pretty sure they were 0-1 or 0-2 when we played them. And they finished the season 11-2. And are ranked, and I'm pretty sure they're I can't remember what conference Air Force is in at this time, but I'm pretty sure whichever one it is, they did win it. So yeah, 11-2, and they finished ranked 14th. So I guess we count that, right? Does that count? Does it count if they were ranked at the time or at the end of the season? I don't know. I'll let you decide that. But then week 3, we had a really dominant performance against Miami of Ohio in like the first half of the game, and then the mistakes just came, and Miami of Ohio remembered who they were and piled it on. And I think in real life, as I noted in the original video, Miami of Ohio, I think, went undefeated or 13-1 or something crazy like that in this year. It was Ben Roethlisberger's last year at Miami of Ohio. And in this, they went 7-6. And keep in mind with all these stats I'm showing you, this is after I've simmed through the entire bowl season, so that these are like final records. And then we beat Duke in Duke. That was not a surprise. Duke is terrible in this game. We almost beat Ohio State in the Sioux, who finished with a perfect season and #1. So if you can use some context clues, yes, they did win the national championship. Spoiler alert. And we almost beat them in the Sioux in a terrible rainy game. It was terrible for both teams. I'm pretty sure their quarterback had like 3 interceptions. It was not good at all. We absolutely pounded on Minnesota, who finished 9-4 and weren't ranked, but they were ranked at the time of this win. They were, oh man, I want to say they were top 10. I think they might have been 10. Yeah, we beat them in pretty convincing fashion too, which is kind of crazy. So the wins are kind of head scratchers to start the season. We have an 11-2 Air Force victory and a 9-4 Minnesota victory. And then we lost this close game to Indiana. I had come back in the very end of the game and left like maybe a minute on the clock, if that. And of course, in 3 or 4 plays, Indiana was able to score and beat us, which was crushing. And then down the stretchers where things really started to go bad. We lost in OT to Wisconsin. I called a play that I thought was kind of going to be like a cheat code. I thought I was going to cheese the game, but the receivers got tangled. I threw another pick in OT, and Wisconsin scored in like 2 plays, I think. So that one sucked. But Wisconsin was one of the better opponents in the Big Ten. Same with Indiana. Indiana surprisingly had an 8-5 season. I think in real life they went like 6-6 or maybe 7-6 or 7-5. I don't know, but and then we lost to Purdue. The Purdue game really frustrated me. I mean, if you got... there's a reason I don't record these games live, because I would have embarrassed myself on this channel if the Purdue game was recorded live when I played it. The one shutout of the season, unfortunately, I was shut out my first year, and it was to Penn State. I don't even know what happened in this game. If I had the... Well, I mean, the stats are posted on the channel if you want to see how bad things really got. But I think we went through 3 different quarterbacks in that game, and none of them could put together a competent performance. And Penn State was not that good this year, so we really probably should have won that game. But then these are the big shocks at the very end to bring it home in weeks 13 and 14 of the season. We somehow knocked off Michigan, who I think was also ranked 10th at the time of that game. And they were, I think their record was weird too. I think their record was like, I want to say they were like 9, no, not 9, but I think they were 7-2 maybe. And yeah, the end of their season just went haywire. It just did not go well for them. They dropped a few games there, kind of derailed their season. And then at the very end here, we win our rivalry against Illinois, who had a mirrored season. I think national ranking, I don't know, they're finished at 72. But at the time, we were like neck and neck. It was like 65 and 64. But we end up considerably further than they do. Almost 20 spots further in the rankings. But 55 is not bad for us. But that is our season. And then we can go to the weekly schedule here and look how things shaped up in college football. Go all the way back here to our conference games. UCF won the MAC. That's a cursed sentence, but it's true. And the box score is even crazier. Look at this. UCF scored 23 unanswered points in the 4th quarter to win the MAC championship. That's kind of crazy. But Kansas State wins the Big 12, and I think that also earned them a bid to the national championship. As you can see, they're 14-1, their final record in the graphic, but they finished 14-0. And then Tennessee absolutely shellacked Arkansas for the SEC. So looking through the bowl week, there's not a lot that's really all that important to us. We might want to see how our conference fared. You know, not that that matters too much, you know, in a video game, but Minnesota did win the Alamo Bowl against Texas A&M. Surprised that Texas A&M was ranked. What are the ranks finished at? Oh, 26 and 24. Yeah, so I'm like, Minnesota has to be close if Texas A&M is ranked. But, yeah, and then Wisconsin here, they put on a beautiful showing, the Silicon Valley Classic, beating SMU 41-3. Wow. Penn State, of course, is the stinker. They got embarrassed here in the Sun Bowl, but they were not a good team for what we saw. So that's not super shocking. And Air Force, 11-2 Air Force, look there. They won the Liberty Bowl. Good for them. Good for them. Purdue also lost a close one to Mississippi State. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But of course, we'll go to the big ones here. And look, Michigan losing the Capital One Bowl to Arkansas sucks. Hurts, but it's all right. But yeah, here's some of the big bowls here that matter. And then, yeah, Ohio State really unmatched in the Sugar Bowl and the Natty as they take that one home. And I think at the time in the real-life season of this game, I'm pretty sure that's like back-to-back. I think that's back-to-back. Which, as an Ohio State fan, that makes me happy. So we're going to head to the stat book here, and I just go over our season stats for the team here. All 3 quarterbacks have some numbers. We used all 3 of them. All 3 of them were terrible. But number 14 was our big guy here, our sophomore. So we will be seeing him again, unfortunately, unless I can recruit someone better, but I doubt it. finished with a 117.8 rating. 170 for 338. Only threw for 2,681 yards. In college, that's pretty bad. I'm going to say it's pretty bad. The 16 to 25 ratio is absurd. 25 INTs for Northwestern is absurd. A solid 50% even completion percentage is crazy, man. Yeah, this dude was something else. This is going to be talked about, I think. In real life, that would be talked about. Did you guys hear about that quarterback from Northwestern who threw 25 picks in his sophomore year? The rushing attack was there's nothing really to look at here. I think 8 touchdowns actually gets us somewhere as far as national rankings go, but of course, 343 yards and 124 attempts is disgusting. I struggled all season finding a playbook that utilized the run well. I kind of started to do it in the last few games of the season, but it was far too little too late for it to really matter. Receiving-wise, this is even kind of gross. We don't have a single 1,000-yard receiver, which I guess why would we? We only threw for 2,000 yards. But because our formations utilize like 4 or 5 receivers so often, we have the ball spread out quite a bit here. We got almost 700 yards on 3 receivers. That's kind of crazy. But the touchdown numbers are even more disgusting. And I love our tight end leads our receiving core in touchdowns. And he's got, 500 less yards than our leading receiver. I mean, just what was our offense this year, guys? I really don't know. Blocking-wise, I guess we want to look at this here. Not a ton of sacks allowed by our O-line, which is kind of cool, I guess. The tackle leader at 37 is bad. That's bad. We have to keep in mind that a lot of the stats that I'm going to show you guys is really kind of inflated, or I guess deflated, because of how the game works, like the quarter times and lengths that we use and stuff. A lot of my final scores really don't look like normal college football scores. I guess they look like regular Big Ten scores, but they don't look like normal college football scores. So some of the rankings we're going to have to take here with a grain of salt. And our kicker went 1 for 6. He went 1 for 6. 1 for 6. I edited out a lot of kickoffs that were kicked out of bounds because I could not kick on the varsity or the one below the highest. That's what I played on for I think all of this season. I played around with it in the Cardinal season, but in this game I kept it the same, and I just could not figure out kicking. I couldn't do it. Could not do it. But yeah, that's pretty bad. The rest of this doesn't really matter. So I guess we'll go. I really just want to go stat rankings because that's really going to be where we see a lot. So, yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. The 117, we are last in all of college football, just in about, like, everything, but it's just because of how the game kind of worked, I guess. There's some stats we can kind of cherry pick and look at, like passing yards per game, I guess, is, like finished 3rd in the Big Ten, passing yards per game. That's pretty cool. I think that's something to look at. Passing touchdowns, finished 47th, like, okay, why not, But yeah, most of this stuff is pretty bad. Even the sacks allowed, I'm not even going to look at because that's kind of a deflated stat, I guess. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the defensive stats, just ignore, but yeah, I guess if you really wanted to check out some of this, just to see it, I just wanted to show all the information I possibly could for anyone who's really curious about it. But yeah, a lot of these like stats, I guess, are not really going to be all that conclusive for us since we don't really play with normal times and stuff like that. These older games are kind of weird about that. But I guess with that, we can finally move ahead into our off-season and take a look at our off-season task. So, yeah, I guess we got to get into it. All right, I'm prepared now to tackle the off-season. This is how it works if you've never seen it in these older games. I know there's plenty of content for NCAA 14 and maybe some of the other ones, and especially NCAA 06 if we're talking the PS2 era. And in those games, you can do in-season recruiting, like I mentioned. But this is our off-season right here, baby. Step 1 through 6. We just got to roll through it. So first things first, we got to check out who we're losing. We are losing our running back. which I guess would be like a big blow if we ran a lot. I mean, he was a 90 overall, so it's obviously like a big blow. It's not like, we're not going to notice that, but, we really didn't get the most out of him at a 90, so I still got to find a good playbook that'll allow me to run more, because in these games, man, if you can run, you are king. So that's a pretty big blow here. We're also losing one of our fullbacks here. He did have 28 carries this year for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not bad. He contributed. Why not? He was one of those many guys catching balls out of the backfield and contributing. So that hurts. Losing wide receiver number 4, who did catch a touchdown this year. Not much, though. Number 80, though, is a big one. You definitely have seen number 80 all around the field catching the ball. He was one of our 3 top receivers this year, 770 yards and 4 touchdowns. Only 4 touchdowns on 700 yards. Unfortunate. But, that's a huge loss to this team, so unfortunate. Also losing tight end number 7, who was our touchdown leader for reception yards, or for receiving touchdowns. He leads the team with 5. So that's we're gonna need to replace him. Because with the way our offense runs, man, the scheme, we're going to need a tight end who can catch a lot more than just 28 balls. And he did drop quite a few. So we're losing our center. I'm going to assume this is our starting center at 70 with a whopping 9 tackles. Good job, bud. Number 3, our middle linebacker. That was another big one, too. He only has 1 interception. I thought he had more than that. I can't remember which game that came in. But, I thought he had more than that. 8 tackles for loss, though, we didn't sack a lot either this year, so 2 sacks it's whatever. Number 49, our linebacker, losing both free safeties. That's kind of not great, man. Both free safeties. I know 29 contributed quite a bit. We called his number a few times throughout the season on some pretty big interceptions, but to lose both your free safeties is kind of bad. But that's where the list stops. We don't lose a ton of people. I guess the big things we have to focus on as far as a replacement goes is we're going to have to reload at tight end, most likely. Our linebacking core took quite a hit. I think at least 2 or 3 guys on this list were the best players on this team. So a noticeable drop for sure. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to address here. But, linebackers, definitely got to get the free safety situation figured out, and then receiving core is really the big thing I see. I'm not even going to worry about running back too much. If I can get like a 2-star maybe, then I think we'll be all right. So, as far as players leaving, it could have been a whole lot worse. I was expecting a disaster after year 1. Just the entire team is gone, and we're going to have to somehow rebuild it from 0. All right, and with that now, it is time to recruit. I'll probably just cut through recruiting. All right, everyone, recruiting has concluded. And now it is time to see how we did. Now, full disclosure, before I show it off, I had a better go at it than I thought I would. I mean, I've really just been in my head about this for weeks, months even, thinking about how much of a disaster, how hard this would be, but it actually went a lot better than I expected it to. There is one glaring issue with recruiting, which we're going to get into. So first, let's look at our class. I'll just show it off. So we did get 2 blue chips. We got a blue chip free safety, which, if you remember, was one of our biggest needs heading into recruiting. The number 2 ranked prospect in the nation. Dude, that is absurd. Look at this, bro. We got the guy, bro. We got our guy. And these are all of his numbers and everything here. I typically don't look at this stuff when I recruit. I just, I see the stars and I go for it. So, but these are good things I like here. Mr. Doyle has more speed than we thought he did. Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who's going to immediately make an impact and start for us. He's more balanced, which is fine too. So, I'm okay with this. And we swindled him from Oklahoma and Notre Dame. So that's a huge get for us. So is this cornerback, man, who's 6'2", He's 6'2". He's the 15th ranked prospect. I'm big on this here. His hands aren't that great though, but it's whatever. So we got 2 5-star prospects, 2 blue chips, which is great. I'm buzzing on that. We also got 2 other free safeties. We had like 6 or 7 that were interested in coming here that I was just trying to get all in on, because you never know which one's going to sign and which one isn't. So we have a bunch of free safeties. I wonder if we could spread them around and like put them in different positions maybe, and have a loaded secondary. That'd be crazy. We also snuck in a defensive end prospect, of 4-star, so that's cool too. I got 2 4-star linebackers, so the immediate needs that we had heading into recruiting I did address. Now there are 2 that I dropped the ball on. Completely dropped the ball on. So I did get a tight end, a 3-star tight end, like I said. As long as we just get like a replacement level tight end for that 65 that we lost, we'll be fine. We'll be fine for the next season. So I got the same thing with a running back, so we'll see how that goes here. But you might notice there is no wide receiver and there is no center. I could not get a wide receiver or center. These guys up here at the top, these free safeties and these linebackers, took most of my recruiting points. I had less than 200 recruiting points to use, and I was not able to squeeze in a receiver or a center over the course of the 5 weeks of recruiting that it gives you, which is really probably what we would have needed in order to get into the interest of any prospect in the nation. Towards the end of the last 2 weeks of recruiting, I snuck in a couple 1-star centers and lower receivers just to see if I could get one, and I couldn't. They would not. Maybe I can show you in the targets here. Show you everyone that we really were in on. But yeah, see, I had this 3-star center I think was interested in us, and he ended up going to Iowa, which is a huge loss for us since we will have to play Iowa at some point. And then this receiver, we lost to Minnesota again, man. Just hate losing them in general, but losing them to conference opponents is really not great. I got desperate with a guard. I was like, dude, maybe if we can get a guard, we can throw him at center. I don't know, but we even lost to Michigan State. Like, come on, man. Our conference was just outbidding us here. I don't remember putting this quarterback on our board, but I guess he was on there just for whatever, and he ended up going to Wisconsin, so whatever, who needs him? And then, yeah, I tried getting this 2-star here. He ended up going to Indiana. I lost this 1-star to Bama. You're not going to get on the field in Bama. It doesn't matter if it's 2004, 2005 Bama. You're not getting on the field with Bama. Come on, dude. And then it threw in these fullbacks. I think in this game, it throws you, like, it just puts some 1 or 2-star recruits in your board, whether you targeted them or not, if your roster needs them. But yeah, I tried targeting centers and receivers, and we could not get a nibble on anything. And the ones that I showed you that were targeted, they were even interested in coming to Northwestern, but I guess I just didn't have enough points, or wasn't high enough to them. So we're going to look at classes here now. Our top classes: USC, the Pac-10 champs, the reigning Pac-10 champs. They had a great season last year. I don't remember where they finished. If it says, no, I don't remember where they finished last year, but they weren't in the Natty. So with 12-1 season, you'd think they would be, but they were probably in a New Year's Six Bowl. So. But they have the top class here. They had 8 blue chips. Jeez Louise. 7 4-stars is even more impressive, honestly. Behind them is Miami, of course, because Miami is just the perennial contender every single year in these freaking games. It never changes. I don't know why. But, yeah, they won the Big East as well. So, good for them. Georgia comes in at 3, which is, I guess, probably one of the bigger shocks since they didn't win the SEC last year. They did have a decent season, though, but I think they must have been behind Tennessee, who had an even better season. Texas A&M, who lost to Minnesota, if you remember, I think in the Alamo Bowl. They're here at 4. That's pretty big. The reigning national champions, the Buckeyes, are here at 5, and Texas here at 6. No shock there. Kansas State, the Big 12 champs, and the runners-up to the Natty, to the Sugar Bowl, are here at 7. They had 7 blue chips, man. That seems to be the height here between Miami's leading the way at 9, and jeez, man, 9 blue chips. There's no beating them. I don't know how we're going to beat that. Tennessee, the SEC champs, are down here at 8. They didn't get a lot of 5 stars, but they did get a ton of 4 stars, which is pretty good for them. Oklahoma here at 9. No one really shocking yet. There's no one shocking in this top 10. And then we're going to round out the top 10 with Notre Dame, who actually had a pretty terrible season last year. They were 7-6. So with this good of a recruiting class, we'll probably be seeing them wreak some havoc here in the coming season. And I guess now we're going to try and see if we can find us. I'm hoping for top 50, and they're good because we're here at 28. I didn't even have to go to 50. We're here at 28. I'll take 28 for our first year, our first recruiting class here. 28's not bad. Top 30. I'll take top 30 here. And look at our stats here. Completely unranked and everything. Of course we are. But yeah, I mean, there's some glaring holes, so I guess I'm not, like, super excited about this class, even though we landed 6 4-stars, which is pretty solid. I mean, Auburn's up here at 25, and they had 1, but they just loaded their class with 11 3-stars, so, you know, they'll have a depth team for sure, but I don't think they'll be wowing anybody on the field with their talent, so got a good number of 4-stars. Our team really didn't have a ton of holes that needed, like, major fixes, but the parts that did, we definitely did it. We got better in those positions, and I think that's really important moving forward into year 2. So I guess with that, we'll just finish recruiting and move on to the next step. All right, so from the end of recruiting, we immediately jump into the training results here. This is the part that I enjoy the most, I think, probably about these older NCAA off seasons, is because your players just naturally get better in the off season. They just jump up. So if you were worried about a player who was like a high 60, like, man, he's really not contributing, well, just wait for the off season because he's probably going to skyrocket. And just like right here, dude, we have this right outside linebacker who I guess was a 61 last season. He is our most improved. He is now, or he was a 71, now he's an 81 overall. That is nuts, dude. Like, the game just gives you some of those sometimes. So we have an 81 outside linebacker. Our right tackle also jumped up 9 points. So that's pretty huge. Our guard is up to an 81. So it looks like at least the right side of our line is you know, pretty jacked now. That might be something we could do running wise. Our running back, I think, number 33, I think, was behind our running back last year, number 18. So he's pretty much jumped in, replaced it. I probably didn't even have to target a running back. So now we have an 89 running back in his senior year. But it's cool because we got another running back that I did just recruit lying in wait. So I'm okay with that. And 84 speed, that's pretty solid, pretty decent. And then here's our left guard at 87. Dude, our offensive line's looking pretty great. I mean, if only we had a center. But it's okay. I guess we'll figure that out. Cornerback up here jumping to 80. Our left end is at 70. Left outside linebacker at 60. That's probably not good because he's probably going to be our starter. I think this linebacker doesn't really matter down here. Strong safety at 75. One of our receivers up to 73. He's probably going to be our best receiver, honestly, number 9, which is unfortunate for us. But yes, a lot of this progression here. Here's one. Here's a 90 hitting down here. Okay, our right end's a 90, so the left side's pretty weak, but our right side is dope. And even our quarterback got a little bit better. I wonder what for him, though, got better. Like, what? His awareness went up quite a bit. That's pretty cool. But I wonder if his throwing power or anything got better. Not really. Not really. So he's about the same level thrower, but I guess his awareness, he's just a little bit smarter at the game now, which I guess we'll take. So an 87 quarterback going into year 2, I'm not upset with. And here we go. Here's some tackles now. They're a little bit lower, considerably lower, but everyone's sitting around, you know, the 80 mark, a little bit low, so that's okay by me. A really consistent team all around. I don't really see a steep drop-off, you know. We don't have a position that really just, like, drops all the way down to like 50 something, you know. It might be a little bit further down here, but I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing a lot of like 60s and 70s. So as long as we can get like some really strong contributors at the top, which is what I'm seeing here, you know, with like the right side of our line and stuff, and some of these recruits I just brought in, we should have a pretty solid team here for year 2. At least a solid enough team to improve on 5 and 7. Geez, maybe scrape a bowl, which is really the goal for year 2, I guess. But yeah, there's some other impressive numbers here. Oh, hey, the punter's a 77. Hey, don't sleep on the punter, okay? He could be a big one, a big guy this year, okay? So let's move on to cutting players and see who has to go now. All right, so let's take a look here. So we're actually at like 54, so I don't think we really need to cut anybody. I mean, I'm sure we have a surplus of people at certain positions, and this is really our first glance at our roster, like see what our roster's looking like. Which you know, hey, not bad. This receiving core is terrible. This is not great at all. Boy, that's real bad. And there we go, 68 tight end. He's one of our recruits here, so he's going to be a freshman. So if I don't recruit another tight end for the next like 3 seasons, this guy will probably get to like I don't know, like a high 70. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, here's our tackle situation. Not terrible, I guess. The guard situation is pretty good. I like that. And ooh, here we go. I recruited this center. I guess he's the one I did get, or maybe the game just added it to me. But he's a 59. But we do have a sophomore center at 66, so I guess we'll just have to make do with that. I don't know. We'll just have to make do. The end situation, we have a strong right end, but really weak left end, so when we set the depth chart, we'll be able to kind of really make the best possible you know, roster out of the talent that we have. So I guess I'm just probably going to skip the cutting because we're well within the roster limit, so there's no point to cut ties with anybody. We'll just redshirt anyone that probably we don't need for the year. So we'll move on to setting our depth chart now. All right, so I'm really interested to see what we can construct here with this roster. So the quarterbacks are fine, of course. I think these are all the same 3 that we had last year who probably never going to touch the field. I don't think our quarterback's going to leave because, you know, in these games they can leave after their junior year. You know, like, oh, I'm going to declare for the draft. Yeah, number 14. After 25 picks last year, you're not going to the draft. You might as well just finish your career here in college and go sell insurance. Running backs, I don't know what we'll do with this recruit here because, you know, 72 is good, and I think if we like redshirt him for next year, you know, and just kind of run it with 33 and 26, because this Trey Morrison, that's the fun part too. Just a little side tangent. In the older games, they start generating names after the first year, but for some reason they don't have that option when you start a dynasty to just auto-generate names. So from here on out, you should start seeing actual names, so we don't have to call people out by numbers anymore. But Trey Morrison, our recruit running back here, our freshman, he should be a name stay in the team for a while, I would think. He's very slow, which I'm just now noticing, but yeah, we have both an 80 and 89. They're both the same speed. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to be using Trey Morrison here, but I'm okay with the running back situation. I was kind of concerned at first, but now I'm not. Fullback doesn't really matter, I guess. Receiving core, it is what it is. 73, we're going to have to go with it. Lord have mercy. Number 9 and number 2, we used a bit last year, so I guess I'm not totally scared about it. I'm pretty sure both of those guys were in our, 600-plus receiving club, so it's whatever. Tight end situation's cool. We have Thomas McGee's going to be our starter. We recruited him. Left tackle, I guess we don't have the better situation, so 73 is where that's going to sit. Left guard, we have a senior coming back at 87. That's fine. Center, that's a fine. Right guard, we're good. Right tackle, we're good. So we got the best guys here, but here we go. Maybe a situation here where we can improve. So, yeah, it looks like Quentin Westbrook, this defensive end that I recruited, I think he was that 4-star I recruited, he's not going to get any playing time on the right side, so we're going to run him. We're going to run him at the left side because he is our better option. And number 96 is going to have to take a back seat because we're trying to win games here. So, yeah, we got that 90 on the right side. Our defensive tackle situation is pretty bad. I didn't notice that. I didn't really have a lot of options recruiting-wise with that. So, I guess I'm not going to be that upset over it. It is what it is. Left outside linebacker, for sure we got to do something about this. Boy, oh boy, do we. So I guess this Frederick guy is probably better on the left side, even though he's a middle linebacker. It's kind of peculiar, but we will run Justin Frederick as our left outside linebacker. He is the better option. and I might as well add Madison, or Jameson, excuse me, Bam Jameson behind him, because even he is a better option than our starting left outside linebacker. So, geez Louise. Oh, man, he's a senior at 61, but hang it up. Hang it up. Get back to class. Start paying attention, bud. This is over for you. So we got 2 recruits sitting in the left outside position. Junior Felton, ironically, is a junior. I guess he was a JUCO that we must have recruited. But he's a 73, so he'll be our starting middle linebacker. I thought we'd have a better middle situation, but I guess that's the thing about linebackers. Maybe in this game, recruiting-wise, you might recruit a middle linebacker, but hey, maybe they're strong on the left or the right. So it is what it is. Now we have a stronger left outside linebacker situation than a middle linebacker situation, so it's whatever. We have a returning right outside linebacker at an 81, so it's whatever, I guess, right? It's whatever. I thought our cornerback situation would be a lot better than this. I thought it would be pretty good. Mac Harrington, I think, is one of the 4s, or no, I guess he's that blue chip that we got. And he's only 80, but he's got 90 speed, which is crazy for a cornerback. And he's also 6'2". This dude's a freak of nature. So, yeah, 1 and 2, I guess that's fine. I'm okay with that. Free safety, again, we got our recruits here, but these guys are only going to get better. So, even though they're pretty low now, I mean, dude, after a year or two, these guys are going to be pushing 90. Like, we're going to have a solid secondary. So, strong safety situation is cool too. I guess what we'll do for fun is we'll see who do we want to return kicks. Like, I guess 26 should probably be our kick returner, right? Because 33 is going to be our starter. So yeah, let's put a number 26 kick returner here. And you know what? For fun, what if we got, or no, dude, let's put Mac Harrington, or cornerback, as our punt returner. For sure, dude. This guy's got 90 speed. He should be returning everything. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we can snap. I don't think we had a single return touchdown last year, so maybe that's what we can do. But yeah, that's I guess going to be our depth chart here. So I think we're good to move into the season. I think things are okay. We have some holes, I guess. I didn't think we had that many, but there's some. There's some spots that are lower than I'd like, but I do think we have a slightly better roster to reach that 6 or 7 win mark, and that's really what I'm going for. So let's move ahead, I guess, and see what year 2 is going to bring to us. All right, everyone, I guess the last order of business before we close up our off-season video here is look at our preseason options here and see what we're doing. So see what we can do with the schedule. So our conference opponents heading into the season, we already got the rankings here. So Ohio State's coming in at number 2. We face them in week 6. We have Wisconsin, who's ranked 25th. I strongly doubt that they will still be 25th by the time we play them in Week 10. They for sure will not be ranked at all. Then Michigan's going to be 20. Michigan will probably go up. I would assume Michigan will probably be in the teens by the time we play them, but that's being hopeful. And out of all these other opponents, I don't know if any of them will probably sneak in. Maybe Minnesota, unless Minnesota got worse. Minnesota could have got worse. But, of course, we're flipping venues, too, which I'm kind of excited about. I'm excited to play Michigan in the Big House. We beat Michigan at home, so I'm thinking maybe if we get Ohio State at home, maybe it'd be an upset alert. Come on, dude. We only lost by 3 points to them last year. We could do it, okay? We beat the Wolverines. We could beat the Buckeyes. Come on, believe it. Got to believe the hype. But I'm really excited to play in the Metrodome in Minneapolis against Minnesota. I don't know why. I just love that they play there, and it's so disgusting, and it should be a lot of fun. But the big thing here, of course, we have to look at our non-conference schedule. So for week 3 would be our first game, and it's got us going up against South Carolina. Man. In year 1, I keep the schedules the same, right? Keep it the same as it was historically all these years ago, right? But in year 2 and 3 and so on, this is where we can really play with it and give ourselves an advantage or hurt us, So right now, our strength schedule is 5 stars. We have a pretty tough schedule. And I don't know about South Carolina, dude. They were in a bowl game last year. I can't remember which one, but at the beginning of this video you saw it. They were definitely in a bowl game. So they might still be a pretty tough opponent. It's at home, so I don't know if I should leave that. But then Utah. I don't know how to feel about Utah in 2004/5. I really don't know what to think about Utah. But they're probably contributing to the difficulty of our schedule here. And then, dude, week 5 at Washington State. What is this? What are we doing? I think Washington State was the one who shellacked, Penn State in their bowl game? Dude, 24? Oh. Part of me wants to keep this out of conference schedule just to see, right? This would just be better content. You guys would have so much more fun if I played South Carolina, Utah, and Washington State back-to-back, 3, 4, 5. By the time we make it to Ohio State, we're just going to be gassed. We're going to be like 0-3, potentially 0-4 just after that week. I mean, I'm scared. Something in me wants to schedule a FCS opponent, but I know in my heart of hearts I can't do that. This could be a way, I guess, to end this series early, because if I lose all of these games, I mean, realistically, guys, what are we looking at here? Probably lose to South Carolina. Maybe I'll give myself a win against Utah, so 1-1. Probably losing to Washington State. Got to beat San Jose State. So we go 2-2 in non-conference like we did last year. Lose to Ohio State 2-3. I'll say we beat Minnesota. We can beat Minnesota 3-3. I'm beating Indiana this year, dude. Mark it, put a pin in it. I'm beating Indiana. I'm not letting them beat us, 1 in general and 2 at home. Not allowing it, okay? So what's that put us at? 4-3. Probably lose to Wisconsin 4-4. I just see the same season happening down that stretch of Purdue, Penn State, Michigan, and Illinois, dude. If we could sneak out like 2 or 3 wins, dude, we'd be cool. But to who? Could we beat Purdue again? Can we beat Penn State on the road? Will we beat Illinois again? I don't want to lose to Illinois in this series, bro. It's kind of like Jim Harbaugh with Michigan, dude. Like, you can win 10 games a year, but if you're not going to beat Ohio State, get out of here. Okay, I feel the same pressure as coach of Northwestern. Win as many games or lose as many as you want. If you're not going to beat Illinois and get the sweet Sioux axe, get out of here. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. This is probably going to be a tough schedule. I should probably switch one of these non-conference opponents, but you know what? We ball, and we're going to roll with it. Redshirting, again, we're at the perfect roster thing here, so I think I'm just going to leave it. I don't think there's anyone that needs to be redshirted. Maybe one of these free safeties, actually, because one of them for sure is not going to play. I don't even think they're in. Ben Long. You know what, Ben? You can get a red shirt. You can get a red shirt, Ben. We'll remove Ben here because I don't think he's going to contribute anything this year. So it is what it is. So with that, as we glance over our schedule here, final shot before disaster strikes, playing South Carolina, playing Utah. Oh, dude, this schedule is ridiculous. I think San Jose State's really bad, though, so that's our cupcake. So we're going to look to that. If all else fails, look to San Jose State. That'll be our breather in between our gauntlet of a schedule that we have. It's bowl or bust, guys. It really is. And if I go down here, I believe the coach options here, look at my report card, I'm pretty sure my job security is already pretty rough. Yeah, I'm at a C+. So if this season goes, like, down really bad, really bad, I don't know, buddy. I don't know if we'll be coming back for year 3. So I don't even know. We'll pull up the contract here. So all we have to do, all they want from us is to maintain the team prestige and win a conference title. So if we don't do it this year, which for sure we will not, we're going to have to come out in year 3 and do it. But I think if we have a decent enough season, like make it to a bowl or maybe even win a bowl game, then they renew your contract, you know. But then the expectations just get bigger. So we might be able to do something here in year 2. He says, Northwestern fans are excited about your plans for 2004. Let's start the season off right with a win. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, against South Carolina. Let's do that. But anyway, when you hear from me again, we'll be taking on South Carolina. who starts the season off ranked at 54. I guess they ended last year off on a 4-game losing streak. That's kind of crazy. So, hey, maybe we could beat South Carolina. I mean, look at the rankings here. B's across the board. I'm getting a little confident now, okay? We're in Evanston, Illinois, baby. We are not in Columbia, all right? So this could be a dub for the Wildcats, okay? Just all I'm saying. Just believe in the hype. Buy in the hype, bro. Bowl game or bust. You're hearing it here. But thanks so much for watching and sticking along with this long video of just mostly rambling and stupidity. If I did anything wrong or stupid, feel free to let me know, because I most likely did and most likely will continue to do it. Having fun recording new cats, so I'm going to jump right in and get these games recorded for the summertime. So we got some college football to enjoy all summer long, as well as pro football. And I'm also going to be starting up baseball here pretty soon. It might come out before this, who knows. But I'm going to try and start up a baseball series. So, but this is football. So, hope you guys enjoy, and can't wait to see you guys in week 2, or I guess week 3, of season number 2 for New Cats on the Block, when we take on the South Carolina Gamecocks.